Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'll be breaking down the MLB slate for Monday, April 10th. We've got 5 games on today's Monday slate, or we got a 5-game main slate. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so starting off at pitcher, at the top of the pitcher list, you got John Lester pitching at home today against the Dodgers. I do like Lester today. Definitely think he has a very good chance to get a win today. The Dodgers are going to be throwing out Alex Wood, and Wood is not a very good pitcher. I can easily see the Cubs winning this game for Lester. But I don't think I'm going to be on him on this slate, not on DraftKings specifically, where he's 11,300. I just think that's way too much. And the Dodgers are a pretty solid team. They do hit lefties pretty well. In Lester's last game, he was 10,600, and he only put up 17 DraftKings points against the Cardinals, and his price rose to 11,300. So I don't think I'm going to be on Lester today. Now, if you can fit him in and Jacob deGrom, you can definitely do that, but that's really steep for your pitchers. You usually don't want to spend that much for pitchers. So I don't think I'm going to be on Lester today, but if you can fit him and deGrom in, I do like that combo. But if I'm going to pick one of these guys to pay up for, it's definitely going to be Jacob deGrom for 2,000 less, going up against the Phillies. I really like deGrom today, especially on DraftKings where he's just 9,300. That is dirt cheap for him. He did look really solid in his first game out against the Braves. He had 23 DraftKings points. He pitched 6 innings, had 6 strikeouts, only gave up 2 hits, and only walked 1 batter. So I really like deGrom today. His price in that matchup against the Braves was 10,600, and it dropped all the way down to 9,300. So you're getting a huge discount on deGrom, and he does get a terrific matchup against the Phillies. The Phillies are not a good hitting team. I really like deGrom today to get you a win, get you those 4 extra DraftKings points. I definitely think he is a lock today for 20 DK points with upside of upwards of 30 to 40. The Phillies do strike out a lot, so if you're paying up for pitcher, Jacob deGrom is definitely going to be the guy you want to target today, especially on DraftKings where he's just 9,300. Now, if you can fit him and Lester in, and you can find enough value hitters to go with you, or to go with that, I definitely do like that combo, but if you just had to choose one, I would much rather have deGrom for 2,000 less than Lester. And then for DraftKings, where you need to fill out your SP2, some SP2s that I like today, I do like Tyler Glasnow pitching at home against the Reds. The Reds do strike out a lot, so I really like Glasnow today for tournaments. I don't think I would use him in cash just because he's a little bit too risky, but if you need an SP2 for tournaments, I definitely think you can target him. He does have really good strikeout upside, and pitching at home against the Reds, I really like this matchup. Like I already said, the Reds do strike out a lot. So if you need a SP2 for DraftKings specifically, you can definitely target him at just 7,500. I really like this matchup. I definitely think he has a ton of strikeout upside. So if you need a pitcher or SP2 for tournaments, I really like him. And then another SP2 I like for 200 less is Brandon Finnegan in that same game. Finnegan looked really sharp in his first game out. Pitching at home against the Phillies, he pitched 7 innings, had 9 strikeouts, and put up 36 DraftKings points. So he did look really good in his first time out. And I really like him today again, pitching against the Pirates. The Pirates don't hit lefties that well. And with the way Finnegan looked in his first game against the Phillies, this could be a breakout year for him. He could have a really promising year. I definitely think you can target him today going up against the Pirates. Like I said, they're not a very good hitting team. And I really like Finnegan's price at just 7,300. I think that's pretty cheap for him. So if you need an SP2 for DraftKings, I really like him as well. I think him and Jacob deGrom are probably going to be the 2 pitchers that I target for DraftKings specifically. I think those are the guys you want to target. But yeah, those are pretty much all the pitchers that I like today. Let's go and move on to catcher. Alright, so some catchers that I like today. I'm really liking Wilson Contreras going up against Alex Wood. Contreras has been playing very well this season. In his last 4 games, he's put up 21, 7, 3, and 11 DraftKings points. Contreras' price is also pretty cheap at just 3,600. In his last game out, his price was 3,900, so you're getting a little discount on him. And this is a really good matchup going up against the lefty and Alex Wood. Contreras will be getting the platoon split, so you can definitely target him at just 3,600. Alex Wood is not a very good pitcher, and I really like Contreras playing at home in Wrigley Field. That ballpark does favor hitters, so I really like Contreras today. If you're looking up top towards catcher, you can definitely target him at just 3,600. And then some cheaper guys that I like, I'm really liking Tony Walters today, playing at home in Coors Field. Most of you know Coors Field is the best hitter's park. Anytime a game is played in Coors Field, you're going to want to get some exposure to it. So if you need some cheap value from that game, I do like Tony Walters. Fantasy Labs currently has Zach Cozart is projected to start for the Padres. DraftKings currently has the projected starter listed as Trevor Cahill, but he is out. He is on the 10-day DL. So I believe Cozart is going to be starting, which means Tony Walters should get the start. The Rockies do platoon Walters, so anytime a righty is on the mound, Walters will be in the starting lineup, so he should be starting today. And like I already said, Coors Field is one of the best hitters park. I really like Walters today at just 3,300 playing at home. If you're looking to get some cheap exposure to the Coors Field game, you can definitely target Walters. He should be in the starting lineup since the Padres are going to be throwing out a righty. So I definitely like him. If you need some value at catcher, you can target him at just 3,300. And at that same price tag, I also like Matt Wieters going up against Adam Wainwright. Wainwright is a righty, and Wieters will be batting from his left side today, which he does bat a lot better from. You can also target him at just 3,300 if you need some cheap value at catcher. Wieters has actually been pretty solid this year. On his last 4 games, he's put up 17, 4, 7, and 0 DraftKings points. And his price is pretty cheap as well at just 3,300. Going up against Adam Wainwright. Wainwright is not that good of a pitcher. He has really took a step down from what he used to be. So also like Matt Wieters, if you need some value at catcher. The only thing I really don't like about Wieters is he does bat towards the bottom of the order, but he should get at least 3, maybe 4 at-bats against the Cards and against Adam Wainwright. He could definitely pay off that cheap price tag. So also like Matt Wieters if you need some value at catcher. But if Tony Walters is going to be in the starting lineup, then I would probably target him at that same price tag. I'm really liking stacking Coors today. Anytime you have 2 bad pitchers pitching in Coors, you're going to want to get some exposure, and that's what you're going to have today. So if Tony Walters is going to be in the starting lineup, he is definitely going to be a catcher that I look at on the slate. I really like his price tag is just 3,300 playing at home in Coors. He would be a guy I target if he's in the lineup. And yeah, those are some catchers that I like today. Let's go and move on to first base. Alright, so some cheaper guys that I like today at first base. I'm really liking Matt Carpenter today at just 4,100 going up against Tanner Roark. Now, although Roark is a pretty solid pitcher, I really like Carpenter today at just 4,100. That is dirt cheap for him. And Carpenter will also be getting the platoon split going up against a righty. I definitely think you can target him today if you need some value at first base. His price just continues to drop. And although he hasn't been that good this year, I could definitely see him doing very well today against Roark. And that price tag is very intriguing. So if you need some value at first base, I really like Matt Carpenter today at just 4,100. I'm going to try and give you all the value hitters that I can today, so I can give you enough salary to pay up for some of the Coors hitters, because the Coors hitters are pretty expensive. So I'm going to try and give you all the value guys that I can. And another value first baseman I like for 200 less than Carpenter is Adam Duvall going against Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow will give up his fair share of home runs, and I definitely think you can target Duvall at just 3,900. Duvall is a terrific power hitter. He has a ton of power. It wouldn't surprise me if he went deep today against Glasnow. I definitely think you can target him if you need some cheap first base value. Just 3,900. I really like that price tag for him. He definitely has a chance to go deep today against Glasnow. Glasnow will give up his fair share of home runs, so I really like Adam Duvall as well if you need some value at first base. And another first base value play that I like is Ryan Zimmerman going up against Adam Wainwright. Wainwright will also give up his fair share of home runs. Wainwright has not been that good this year, and Ryan Zimmerman has been killing it lately. In his last 4 games, he put up 18, 19, 3, and 2 DraftKings points. So he's already shown off his pop this year, going deep twice. And he is also pretty cheap as well, just 3,500. So if you need some more value at first base, I like Ryan Zimmerman. He should be in the starting lineup. He did sit out Sunday just to get a day off, so he should be in there today. And I definitely like him going up against Wainwright. Wainwright will give up home runs, and Zimmerman has already shown off his power this year. So if I'd like Ryan Zimmerman as well, if you need some value at first base, you can definitely target him. And yeah, those are some of the first baseman value guys that I like today. Let's go and move on to second base. All right, some second baseman value plays that I like today. I really like Aduel Herrera at just 3,800 going up against Jacob deGrom. Now, I know deGrom is a really solid pitcher, but Herrera has just been on an absolute tear lately. On his last 4 games, he's put up 8, 12, 10, and 11 DraftKings points. So he's been really consistent. If you're not going to play deGrom today, or even if you do play deGrom, I definitely think you can play Herrera as just a one-off. I'm not someone who usually recommends playing hitters against your pitcher, but one player won't kill you. And I also really like Herrera's price tag at just 3,800. You can definitely target him with that cheap price. He does have really good upside. He does have a ton of speed. If he gets on base, he will steal bases. So you can target him. If you need some value at second base, I like him. Even if you're going to play Jacob deGrom today, I still think you can play Herrera. He could return value without even killing deGrom. He could just get walked and steal a couple bases and return value just like that. So I do like Aduel Herrera. If you need some value at second base, you can target him. And then for 200 less, I also really like Addison Russell going up against Alex Wood. Wood is a lefty, so Addison Russell will be getting the platoon split. And I also really like Russell's price tag at just 3,600. He's way too cheap. He's been pretty consistent lately. In his last 4 games, put up 7, 4, 3, and 19 DraftKings points. I really like him today at that cheap price tag and going up against Wood. Wood is not a very good pitcher. And playing at home in Wrigley Field, that ballpark does favor hitters. So I also really like Addison Russell today. If you need some value at second base, you can target him with that cheap price tag of just $3,600. Going up against Alex Wood, I really could see Russell doing well today. So if you need some value, also like him. And one more value play I like is Scooter Gennett going up against Tyler Glasnow. Now, Gennett doesn't really play very often, but the Reds will throw him in the lineup whenever a righty is on the mound. And since Glasnow is a righty, Scooter Gennett could be in the lineup today. So if he is in the lineup, you can definitely target him as well if you need some value. Although Glasnow does have pretty good strikeout upside, he will give up his fair share of home runs, and Gennett does have a little bit of power in him. So I definitely like Scooter Gennett today. If you need some value at second base, you can target him. He might be in the lineup since the Pirates are going to be throwing out a righty. They might put Gennett in the lineup since he gets platooned pretty often. So I like him. If you need some value at second base, you can target him with that cheap $3,400 price tag. And yeah, those are some second baseman value plays that I like today. Let's go and move on to third base. All right, so looking at third base, there really isn't many cheap value plays that I like here. But if you're looking for a guy a little bit cheaper than some of the top studs up top, I really like Daniel Murphy today at just $4,600 going up against Adam Wainwright. If you believe in BVP, you might want to target Daniel Murphy today. In 17 at-bats against Adam Wainwright, Daniel Murphy has had 8 hits, which has resulted in a .471 average. So he has really hit Wainwright good in his career. And you know Murph is one of the best hitters when it comes to hitting against righties. He crushes righties. Really like his price tag as well at just $4,600. That is dirt cheap for him. You know Murph is one of the best hitters in the league. He's one of the most consistent players. On his last 4 games, he put up 10, 6, 25, and 17 DraftKings points. So if you need somewhat of a value at second base or at third base, you can definitely target Murph. I know getting some exposure to the Coors guys is what you're going to want to do, but if you don't want to play some of those guys up top, you can definitely target Murph at sort of the cheaper end. I really like him. I mentioned Matt Carpenter at first base. You can also play him at third base, so you can target him for third base value. Same goes for Ryan Zimmerman. I also really like Zimmerman today. If you need some third base value, you can target him. You can play him at first base as well. And there is one cheap guy that I like here, and that's Justin Turner going up against John Lester. Now, I know Lester is a pretty solid pitcher, but Turner's price tag is really intriguing me at just $3,400. He has been pretty solid lately. In his last 4 games, put up 3, 13, 8, and 0 DraftKings points. At just $3,400, you're only going to need about 6 to 8 DraftKings points for him to return value. And going up against John Lester, he could do that. Although Lester is a pretty solid pitcher, he will struggle at times. So if you need some value at third base, you can target Justin Turner today at just $3,400. I really like him. Like I already said, I like Ryan Zimmerman. Play him at first or third base. Same goes for Matt Carpenter. You can play him at first or third base. And then if you're not wanting to pay up for some of these guys playing in Coors, I really like Daniel Murphy today as well, just $4,600. If you're looking for a guy on the cheaper end, away from the Coors guys, you can target him. And yeah, those are some third basemen that I like today. Let's go and move on to shortstop. All right, so some shortstops that I like today. One guy that's catching my eye as just being too cheap is Corey Seager going up against John Lester. And I know this isn't an ideal matchup going up against the lefty and John Lester. And Lester is a pretty solid pitcher, but Corey Seager's price is just way too cheap at $4,100. Now, his last 2 games, he was over 5K, but those games were in Coors, so DraftKings did inflate his price. But even in his games not in Coors against San Diego, his price was $4,500 and $4,300, and it dropped to $4,100, which is pretty cheap for him. And Seager can hit lefties, although he is a lot better when he goes up against righties. He can still hit lefties pretty well. I definitely like him today at shortstop at just $4,100. He could succeed against Lester. Although Seager does hit better against righties, he can still do well against lefties, so I like him at just $4,100. If you're not wanting to pay up for Trevor Story to get exposure to the Coors game, you can target Corey Seager for $800 less. I really like him. Another shortstop I like for $200 less is Aledmys Diaz going up against Tanner Roark. Roark is also a pretty solid pitcher, but he will struggle at times, and I really like Diaz's price at just $3,900. That is way too cheap for him for the way he's been playing. He has been a little inconsistent lately, and his last 4 games put up 0, 12, 0, and 37 DraftKings points. But his price over his last 3 games was over 4K, and that has dropped to $3,900, which is just way too cheap. I really like him today. If you need some cheap value at shortstop, you can target him at just $3,900. Diaz does bat towards the top of the order, which is always a plus. He should get at least 4, maybe 5 at-bats in this matchup, and he could do very well against Roark. Roark will struggle at times, so I do like Aledmys Diaz. If you need some shortstop value, you can target him at just $3,900. And then there is one cheap punt play that I like here, and that's Wilmer Difo going up against Adam Wainwright. Trey Turner is expected to be out for this game, so Difo should get the start. And looking at Fantasy Labs, they currently have him projected to bat 6th. And batting sixth in the lineup really isn't that bad, so if you need a cheap punt play, you can target him at just 2,700. Like I already mentioned, Adam Wainwright has not looked good this year, and I definitely think the Nats are going to be able to put up some runs today, so I do like him. If you're wanting to stack cores, you're going to need some cheap value plays, so you can target him at just 2,700. You can play him at second base and shortstop, so if you want to stack some of the cores hitters today, you're going to need some cheap punt plays, and you can target him at just 2,700. I do like him today. He should be in the starting lineup with Trey Turner out. And yeah, there's some shortstops that I like today. Let's go and move on to outfield. All right, so some value outfielders I like today. One guy that's catching my eyes just being too cheap is Gerardo Parra, playing at home in cores. Now, I know 4,200 isn't much of a value, but when you get a guy playing in cores for that cheap, I really like him. And like I already mentioned, Jared Kozar is expected to be the projected starter today, and he is a righty. So that means Gerardo should be in the starting lineup, and Fantasy Labs currently has him projected to bat sixth. So I really like Gerardo Parra today. If you need some cheap exposure to the cores game, you can definitely target him at just 4,200. If Kozar does start, then Gerardo will be in the lineup. He will be platooned, which means I know 4,200 really isn't much of a value, but anytime you get a guy playing in cores for close to 4K, you're definitely going to want to get some exposure to him. So I do like Gerardo Parra today. If you need some cheap exposure to the cores game, you can target him. Another cheap guy I like is Billy Hamilton at just 3,800, going up against Tyler Glasnow. Hamilton is just way too cheap. He has been absolutely killing it lately. He's been really consistent. In his last 4 games, he's put up 10, 7, 6, and 13 DraftKings points. You all know that Hamilton is one of the fastest players in the league. So all he has to do is pretty much get walked and steal a couple bases, and he's return value. And he can definitely do that against Glasnow. Glasnow will walk some batters, so I do like Hamilton today at just 3,800. Hamilton also does bat a lot better from his left side, and he will be batting from his left side today since the Pirates are going to be putting a righty on the mound. So if you need some cheap outfielder, or if you need a cheap outfielder, I really like Billy Hamilton today at just 3,800. That price just seems way too cheap for him. And then another guy I really like at just 3,600 is Yasiel Puig going up against John Lester. Now I know John Lester is a pretty solid pitcher, but when it comes to keeping runners on base, Lester is one of the worst pitchers at that. If Yasiel Puig is able to get on base today, the Dodgers will be sending him off and running. John Lester cannot hold runners on base. He's one of the worst pitchers at it. So I really like Yasiel Puig today. He does have pretty good speed. I definitely think he's going to be able to steal a couple bases today if he is able to get on base. And he should be able to do that going up against Lester. Lester is a lefty, and Puig does bat right-handed, so Puig will be getting the platoon split advantage, which is always a plus. And playing at Wrigley Field is also a plus as well. That ballpark does favor hitters. So I really like Yasiel Puig today. I definitely think he has a ton of stolen base upside going up against Lester. Like I already said, Lester really struggles to keep runners on base, so I really like him today. I think Puig's going to be able to steal a couple bases off of Lester. So if you need a cheap outfielder, also like Yasiel Puig, just 3,600, I would definitely target him at that cheap price. And yeah, those are some cheap outfielders that I like today. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some of my favorite plays for tonight. Alright guys, so this is half of a lineup filled out with my favorite pitcher along with some of my favorite value hitters. These are some guys that I'm going to be putting in my lineup today. If you want to get the other half of my lineup before lock, then follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT and send me a message on Twitter and I will get you a lineup. Even if you play on FanDuel, I do give out lineups for that site as well. So if you play on DraftKings or FanDuel, you can get my lineups. They are $5 a day, or you can get a week of lineups for $25. So if you're interested in that, like I said, follow me on Twitter and send me a message. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. I do upload these videos every day, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. And if you never want to miss out on a video, then please be sure to turn on post notifications. Just click the bell icon next to my YouTube name, and that'll notify you every time I upload. So if you never want to miss out on a video, please be sure to do that. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
I don't really care if you cry. I don't really shouldn't have a lie. Should've saw the way she looked me in my eyes. She said, baby, I am not afraid to die. Push me to the edge. All my friends are dead. Push me to the edge.